Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys so much for coming today. My name is Alicia Weigel, and I will be presenting to you. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Rockton's brand new pricing solution, Rockton Pricing Management, RPM for short. So we're going to show you guys how you can rev up your pricing a little bit. Just a quick couple of housekeeping items. We're going to keep it pretty brief today. We're only planning on about 30 minutes, so we can give you a good chunk of your Tuesday back. But if you guys have questions, I would love to help answer those for you. So feel free to type any questions that you might have into your chat panel on the GoToWebinar kind of control panel that you've got looking at you right now. You can type anything in there that you'd like, and then I would be happy to answer those at the end. Otherwise, if it's easier, you can certainly just click on the raise your hand button, and that way I'll know that you'd like to ask your question out loud. We are also recording today's session, so if you need to jump off early or you'd like to share this with someone you know or you love after this presentation, you are certainly welcome to do that. Our marketing team will be sending out the recording to everyone registered following the presentation later today or tomorrow. So we've got those pieces out of the way. So now we're going to actually get into a little bit about the product. Today we're presenting this specifically for Acumatica partners. So Rockton, if you're not familiar with us, we have been in the software space, primarily in the Microsoft Dynamics GP space, for about 20 years now. And we've recently become an Acumatica partner as well as an Acumatica ISV. So today what we're showing you is our ISV solution. And really this product can work with any ERP solution. So we have the ability with our connectors to use it for Dynamics GP, Acumatica, Business Central, all over the place. So it's a very, very flexible product. A little bit more about Rockton software. We are headquartered in the Colorado and North Dakota states. I am in Fargo, and the rest of our teams are spread out across Erie and kind of throughout the US. We're a very mobile and virtual company, which is awesome. But basically, we spent the last 3 years working on Rockton Pricing Management and really getting kind of a feel for what is missing in pricing today. As I said, we have been in this space for a long time, and we've actually had a pricing solution specifically for Dynamics GP since 2005. So we are very well versed in having a quality product as far as pricing goes and knowing what customers were looking for. But there were some limitations within that just that came along with the coding of it and how it was coded. So we really took all of the knowledge that we've gleaned from owning that product for so long and continuing to develop it, that we put those scenarios and the abilities that it was missing into Rockton Pricing Management. So we're going to take a look here. So what does this tool do? Well, basically, we have made a product that allows you outside of your ERP system to essentially automate your pricing scenarios and your calculations. So we are living outside of the ERP system, which makes this extremely fast. But on top of that, we're allowing you to kind of come up with all those unknowns that you might be struggling with. Maybe it is, we need to give this specific group of customers a better price at this time of year on these particular items. Those are scenarios we can handle. Maybe you need to be able to track the history of your customers, their buying habits and things like that, and you want to be able to give them a better price on a specific set of items that they purchase on a regular basis and they're one of your better customers. Maybe price lists are just really hard for you or your company in general. If you're waiting until midnight on December 31st to update next year's pricing because that's when Excel is gonna, we're gonna quick switch from this Excel sheet to the next Excel sheet. That's not always a very efficient way of doing pricing, and it also might not be very accurate. There's a lot of user error and a lot of users across ERP systems that I've seen that almost entirely rely on an Excel spreadsheet to figure out what they're charging their customers. So Rockton Pricing Management definitely helps with that. And it's just really, really easy to set this up and to be able to track all your pricing changes. This has an audit log in it, which is really nice to be able to see exactly how a price came to be. So that is something that is very unique to Rockton Pricing Management as well. When we started building this, we really sat down and tried to figure out who was our ideal customer. Our ideal customers are for sure going to be distributors, whether that's food industry, construction, pretty much anyone that's distributing across different areas, our manufacturers, wholesalers, and suppliers. Those were really who we had in mind when we started working with this. But once we kind of got this all put together, it was really anyone who was sick of managing a million different price lists. So if you have one sheet for, Bob down the street and one sheet for Tim down the street because, they don't want to pay the same thing, but there's really some similarities between those two customers, we might be able to help you simplify how many price sheets do you actually have out here. So I'm going to jump into Acumatica now and show you some of those examples that I have set up. All right. So we are going to start out with one of my Acumatica customers, and I'm going to use a customer that in my scenario, this is one of my top customers. I call these my key customers. So they might be, your top tier or, your star pupils. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to pick USA Bartending. And what I've set up in RPM for USA Bartending is that I always want them to have a special customer incentive. Because they're one of my key customers, I've pulled an attribute from Acumatica and I've put that into Rockton Pricing Management. And that I just used out of the customer's customer class. I created a class called Key. And then I just tied that back to Rockton Pricing Management and said, anytime I'm selling to one of my key customers, I want them to get a better deal. They're going to get a 1% incentive every time they purchase something from me, on top of any other promotions or discounts or things like that that I, want to give them. So I've got that pre-programmed in RPM so that when I pull up USA Bartending or any of my other key customers, they're going to get that special price. So I'm going to go ahead and add some items to this. So I'm going to start out with, what was my favorite? Okay, I'm going to start out with some Legos. 'Tis the season. My nephews just asked for a 500-piece Lego set. To my shock, those things are like $90. They're very expensive. So as a customer, I would be happy to get 1% of that $90 back. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to purchase one of these. And now I want to see some of the power that RPM has. And this is what the customer or your regular end user is seeing. They're just seeing regular vanilla Acumatica. They're not seeing an RPM engine. They're not seeing where these prices are pulling from. They're just seeing that everything looks good to me and it looks same old, same old. But if I want to look a little deeper into how this price, which if I tab over, you can see I'm paying $87.32 for this 500-piece Lego set. If I want to get more information on that, all I have to do is click on my little pencil, and we're going to see some of the adjustments that RPM can do. Because I've noticed within Acumatica specifically, you're a little limited as far as, creating those journal entries that are going to post to your general ledger. All these accounts that you want to hit, your sub accounts and your accounts. Well, with RPM, you are able to set those up in advance and create those journal entries inside of your invoices automatically. So where I'm looking is just under the little edit to see the detail. And I'm able to see that because I used a key customer, and if I drilled back into this customer, I'd see that they were on the class of key, they are automatically receiving a 1% incentive off of the unit price of this item, which is 90 cents because it was 90 bucks, which is shocking. And then I already selected what accounts do I want that percent to go to. So if you are trying to do some of that additional, kind of like cost accounting and things like that, where you want to be able to see, if you ran a special holiday promotion, how much did you essentially give away, or what was your discount amount to that account? Well, with RPM, you're able to set that promotion up, track it to whatever accounts you want, and then be able to see that amount in there and actually know what are these discounts costing you as a business. So I plugged that 1% incentive in. On top of that, Lego is giving me a 2% rebate. So I've got a vendor rebate in here for 2% only when I sell the Lego brand of toy. So I have that set up. Took me about 2 seconds to set that up in RPM. And now I've plugged that into that Lego brand, but that's only for December. So I'm able to create all these different types of adjustments and kind of have them already predefined, so my end user doesn't even have to think about it, they just happen. So that's one example. And if rebates are something that you're struggling with, this is a really awesome tool for that, because you can set up any rebate scenario that you need to in Rockton Pricing Management and have it flow over to your ERP. It works the same way with commissions. So if you are looking for a simpler way to do commissions, we can help you with that. So we're going to add another line item now that we've got our Legos on here, and we're going to sell some Bose headphones. My kids have been begging for AirPods. They're not getting them. They'll lose them. But Bose headphones. I travel a lot. These are my lifesavers. So I'm going to sell some Bose headphones. Well, as a salesperson, I'm getting a holiday commission on Bose products. So when I go in and I sell this, I can see the same thing on this line item. I'm going to have a little different scenario. So here I'm getting my key customer incentive, because anytime USA Bartending is buying something, they're getting that 1% back. But they're also getting a sales commission, and this is not affecting my unit price of my item. So I can see the item cost, I can see the margins just like I would normally, but I am adding a 5% commission that is getting coded to my commissions account without modifying that unit price. It's also something that my end user is unable to edit. So it's affecting my margin. These are all options that you get to pick when you're in RPM and you're setting this up. It's not editable. It does or it doesn't affect my margins. And does it affect my unit price? Well, certainly my incentive is going to affect that unit price, but my sales commission shouldn't. So I get to set all that up when I'm creating this. So that is one example. Making sure we can keep track of those commissions. Now, what happens if we buy a whole lot of Bose headphones? Well, you might want to set up things like quantity breaks. Those are pretty popular. So let's take a look. If we change this line up a little bit. Oops, come on, let me edit you. There we go. Let's change that quantity and let's just say we're selling 22 pairs of headphones. Well, at this point, we're actually going to be getting a quantity break as well. So if we kind of tab through here, there we go. My unit price dropped to $266 instead of $299. I had a quantity break already built in to my pricing. So when I go to sell this now, they're going to get that for a lot cheaper because they were in that range. So there's my unit price of $266.41. That includes still that 1% discount for being a key customer. And then my sales commission is automatically now corrected based off of that quantity break. So those are a few scenarios that I wanted to kind of start you guys with and let you take a look at. And now I'm going to take you into the pricing engine itself. All right. So like I said, this lives outside of your system altogether. We're driven off of SQL tables, so we're nice and fast. We have SQL APIs and web services that if you are looking at connecting, say, e-commerce sites, maybe you're working with K-e-commerce or Magento or something like that. Maybe you have EDI involved or SalesPad. All of our APIs are available for you to use those to hook in so that you are still running a really efficient process. So that is kind of how this is built, but this is going to live outside of your ERP, and this is going to be something that you guys designate a few people to manage, but this is not where your end user is going to live. We are still constantly adding to and updating our interface, but we're going to show you guys just how easy it is to set up next year's prices. And I already have these open, that's why it's not opening. All right. So we have in RPM what's considered a price book. Now, a price book is basically just a holder for your price sheets, and you can have as many price sheets as you want. Those are all going to be date and currency driven. So we have a date of January 1st to December 31st, and it's US currency or it's Canadian currency, it doesn't matter. That's just kind of what is a price book. It's a date and it's a currency. The individual sheets, you could have hundreds and thousands of those if you want, because maybe you have a special price sheet just for your key customers or just for, the naughty list, whatever you want. I have set up here a December special where if I have a customer outside of my key customers purchasing in December, they're getting a 10% off special. But I've also got my base prices for 2019 set up in here. And this is where you can see I've got my currency selected and my date range. If I wanted to quick create a promotion, maybe just for Black Friday, how easy is it just to click copy? It's copied over every single one of my items, every single price that I have. And if I wanted to just modify a few things, I could say that this is, I know Black Friday has gone, but let's just call it that, Black Friday special. And maybe we're already setting up next year's because we can do that in here. I can come through and I can set up for next year if I'm quick about it. I don't even know what day Black Friday falls on next year. Let's just say that Thanksgiving is back in the middle of the month instead of towards the end, which has really screwed me up this year. And we'll say that is over on November, I can type here, there we go, November 21st. So this promotion, it's only active for these 2 days or for this 1 day only. And I can come in and I can change whatever I want. Maybe those Acer computers today only, those are gonna be $250. So now the next time I sell that on the 20th of November of 2020, they are going to get a heck of a deal at $250. And I can come through and change as many of these prices as I want. All of this can also be done in Excel. We want to let you use what you're comfortable with. So import, exports all through Excel, creates a nice little template for you so you have that and you can quick modify and kick out those price lists as fast as you want. This is going to work the same for next year's pricing. So if I delete this, decided I didn't want to keep that Black Friday, you can always archive these, by the way. You don't have to delete anything. But we're not going to save any changes. We can just set up next year's. The nice thing is any quantity breaks that I've created, if we go back down to that Bose headphones, here's my volume pricing. This is going to be the same in both of my 2019 pricing and now my 2020 pricing, but here's what I'm paying for those items when I sell them. 1 to 20, $299, 21, $50 plus. And this is just the generic pricing. So when you have those extra adjustments out there, like those customer incentives, those vendor rebates and those commissions, those are the prices that it's looking at, and those are the prices that it's saying, okay, now let's do this additional step with that. But that is how some of those quantity breaks work. But I can just come in here, I can set this up for 2020. Boy, am I struggling with these today. There we go. We'll set up January 1. And I'll do 2020 because I can type better this way. And we'll call this prices for 2020. Done. So now I have my entire price sheet, just my base prices in this case, all set up and ready to go for 2020. And because this effective and end date are going to pass all by themselves, because that's how calendars work, guys, it's going to automatically pick up and say, okay, starting here, let's use those 2020 prices. Anything that I've changed will then be effective for 2020. So it's really, really easy to set up your next year's prices. And you can do that anytime you want. Some of those additional calculations, things that we were talking about. Here's my key customers. If I needed to suddenly update my key customers, this took me about 2 seconds to set up, but maybe I've decided those key customers have been really, really beneficial to my business this year. So if that's the case, maybe I want to change their customer percentage to 2%. They're going to get an extra piece of the pie. So we'll give them that piece. But maybe my salespeople have been slacking a little bit, or maybe it was a little bit of an off year. So we need to bring that down to 4%. And maybe I want to change out some of those accounts that I'm hitting. This is where I could come in and select something else. This is all pulling right out of Acumatica. So I can pull any credit debit account that I want, plug it in, and now I have a new sales commission of 4% instead of 5%. So I can save that, and that'll update across all of my price sheets that have that sales commission put out there. So it's really, really easy to use this. These calculations can be pretty much anything you can think of. The one thing that I have found from demoing in both GP and Acumatica over the past couple years is that it seems like no two businesses run their pricing exactly the same. Everyone has a different discount. Everybody's got a special list of things that they pull from that determines who their great customers are. So if there's examples that you want to see, or there's things you want to test out, we are right now still offering free implementation of RPM. So we will actually help you set everything up, import your customers and your items and all those attributes and things like that for you, and get you going so that you can actually use this product efficiently before you ever have to start paying for it. So that is something to kind of keep in mind. Because no two businesses are the same, we want to make it as easy of a setup process as we can for you. So that is something that we are currently offering. I don't know how much longer that will be the case, but today it is a free implementation. So that is something to consider. Once you have been implemented, Acumatica is sold as a subscription. So you're just paying a monthly fee, and that's going to be based on your your consumption size with Acumatica. From small, medium, large, XL, and enterprise, those are how we segment our pricing. And pricing starts at $5.99 a month. And so that is really, really easy to do. As far as math, you can figure out annually, this is how much you're paying. That includes unlimited support, as well as any upgrade code that we need to do for you. So it's a pretty darn good deal. That is kind of how it is priced. It includes that implementation. And if you are looking for a specific scenario that you would really like to see in person, I'm happy to set up any demos that you might need and set those examples up so that you can actually kind of wrap your head around your own scenario, because I know I'm certainly not hitting on everybody's top few examples. So let us know if that is something we can help you with. We would love to do that. I'm going to jump back over here just so you guys get some contact information from myself. Oh, here it is. We've already talked about this, but our SQL service and web service APIs make it easy to connect. We want to hear from you, and there is our contact information. So if there is questions that are burning in the back of your mind that we don't get to, feel free to reach out to us, sales@rocktonsoftware.com. That is also where you can request individual demos as well. And I am happy to do those for you or any of my wonderful colleagues. But I would love to check and see if we have any questions. I've been rambling here for a bit, but I've got a few minutes. So I'm going to check what we've got. Okay, good question, Devin. Okay, so here's what we've got. Is there an easy way to filter and update pricing on just items in a specific category or subgroup of items? Items from a specific supplier, for example. Awesome question, Devin, and yes. In RPM, we have the ability to create filters, which is awesome. And I'm actually going to show them to you here just for a quick second. Usually I talk about them a little bit more. But yes, you can create filters, and you can create all sorts of filters. Item filters, customer filters, price filters, attribute filters, you name it, you can create those. So I created some item filters. So for example, just my Lego brand. If I needed to update pricing just based on Lego, or the brand contains the value of Lego, I can do that within RPM as well. Same thing if I wanted to update just a specific group of customers pricing, things like that, you can do all of that with the different filtering options that we have. So thank you for that question. Any other questions that I can answer for folks in the audience today? All right, going once, going twice. Okay, well, a quiet group, but that's okay. I appreciate that one question, and I would be happy to answer any others if they come to mind at a later time. But for now, thank you guys so much for coming. Please, again, reach out to us if there's anything we can help you with. But thank you again. Have a great holiday season next week and throughout the next couple of weeks. Thanks, guys.